Now, the ruthless gang of robbers who outwitted police for months, despite each of their crimes being caught on camera. The men used a new and dangerous technique to break open 27 cash machines across London. 1:30 in the morning in Britain's capital. The gang is about to rob a cash machine at a petrol station. It's a run-of-the-mill crime using a devastating method. 48 hours later, the gang strikes again. And again. Within weeks, they've blown up multiple cash points across London and the home counties. The Met's elite flying squad are called in to investigate.
Yeah, the Flying Squad is a specialist unit within the Organised Crime Command, primarily responsible for the investigation of armed robbery at commercial premises. On some of these explosions, the ATM machine literally blew sort of 50 metres across the road. One explosion is one explosion too many, and this crime type and this series became a priority for the Flying Squad.
The gang members disguised themselves heavily before targeting isolated cash machines in the early hours.
Historically, ATM machines have been stored within banks, building societies, in secure buildings. But nowadays, ATM machines are in newsagents, they're in laundrettes, dry cleaners. They're quite vulnerable premises and quite easy to attack.
So this is the perfect venue for them. They'll raise up the shutters, they'll cause the explosion at the ATM, they'll smash their way through the door and attack the ATM and hopefully get the money and then make off as quickly as they can.
Detectives show the CCTV footage to explosives expert Sarah Griffith. Her conclusion: the gang is pumping volatile substances into the machines and then igniting them.
These are highly flammable and consequently, under certain conditions, can produce explosions that can be ignited by even static electricity.
These images show the destructive force of the technique being used.
By their very nature, an explosion produces a very loud sudden noise. Given that these are happening in the small hours of the morning, people tend to wake up and look out. So we have good evidence from people inside their houses looking out straight away and describing in detail what they could see, which was incredibly helpful when it came to working out the mechanism involved.
There you see the explosion. You can see the significant damage to the front of the premises. Once the explosion's taken place, subjects then return to the front of the premises to gain access to the rear of the ATM machine.
Each time the gang strikes, the likelihood of injury or death increases. Here they are targeting a shopping parade in Maidenhead.
We've got an ATM which is enclosed in a metal case, so any severe disruption to that is going to produce twisted, sharp-edged pieces of metal, and those are the ones that really present a risk to anybody in that area. The risk is that they might be struck by flying debris, lacerated, eye injuries, the list goes on.
The police have worked out the gang's method and are able to predict the type of premises they'll hit next. But they still have no idea of the gang's identity.
We had very limited leads. This team were highly organised, they were career criminals, they knew how the Flying Squad operated, so they were forensically aware. They would wear facial coverings, nondescript clothing.
We really left no stone unturned and we tried every single thing possible to try and identify the suspects. But in those early offences, despite those efforts that were made, we just hadn't been able to identify who was committing the crimes.
3 months into their crime spree, the gang have destroyed 11 cash machines and stolen nearly £200,000. Then, their first mistake. As they prepare to blow up a post office cash machine, they're almost caught red-handed by a passing driver.
He doesn't actually appreciate the situation he's put himself into unwittingly. He's confronting a criminal gang who are prepared to carry out dangerous levels of criminality.
Later, we'll show you what happens when the man approaches the robbers. Also coming up, how not to park your car.
It must have been getting on for 60+ miles an hour. It was going at some fair rate.